Hello, my name is PJ Capozzi. Really excited that you're tuning in. Today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about choosing courage over comfort and the impact uh, that has on creating a culture of excellence. So, let's talk a little bit about culture. Culture is important because culture is quite literally everything we do. So, when we talk about what culture is in a school, it is the lifeblood of the organization. It is something that is constantly being shaped, molded, or formed by the leaders in the organization. And when we talk about schools, it's really vitally important that we realize that quite literally, we are all leaders. Every student, every staff member, every leader with an appointed title. And so, as you are listening to this, the question that I ask you is, are you currently building the culture of either your classroom, your department, your school? Are you doing that based on intentionality? Are you doing that by deploying intentional behaviors that demonstrate what you value? Are you modeling the correct behaviors? And also, are you tolerating behaviors that are working in contrast to what you believe? To explain, if you are whatever the lowest common denominator of behavior you're allowing, most likely defines your culture. And so this is really important when it comes to the topic of the day, which is choosing to have courage over comfort. And so when we think about this in a myriad of ways, we can think about this of doing the right work within the organization, tackling big, hairy obstacles such as uh, the endeavor of equity work or social justice work, or it could be that we need to revamp the grading system we know is just fundamentally flawed and broken, or we need to rethink how we do a set. There's so much work to be done in schools, and it's all good work. So that's one way it could be done. So instead of just moving slowly forward, we choose to move boldly and ambitiously toward our goals. Another way this manifests, and this is the one that's probably more commonly talked about, is when we choose to tolerate behaviors that aren't in line with our values and the culture we want to create. And instead of engaging in the dialogue around those behaviors, we choose comfort instead. And so, whenever I'm thinking about why we want to establish a really positive culture and what that means to have courage in doing so, I always think about the very best people within my organization. And so, when I'm thinking about the very best students, the very best parents supporting our students, when I'm thinking about the very best teachers, and my role as a superintendent, when I'm thinking about my very best leaders within the district, there's a couple things that I remind myself that they know, that my best people know. They know who is really doing the work. And when I say doing the work, I'm talking about doing the work. And they know how we treat the people that are doing the very best work in comparison to the people that are acting in contrast to the culture that we say that we value. They recognize and they understand if uh, we are holding people accountable, if we're providing support, and if we are hypocritical in our actions. And they also know that what in their role as a leader, because again, I believe everyone within the organization is a leader, they know that there is no progress without setting a really ambitious vision for people and then providing support, feedback, and accountability. So as you're thinking through this and you're wondering like, do when do I choose comfort and when do I choose to kind of go boldly in the direction of what I believe in, whether that's remediating poor behavior or chasing a big, ambitious dream? I need to remind you that when you choose comfort over courage, the most likely winner in that scenario is nobody. If anybody wins in that scenario, it's you. And for example, there would be when you know that you should have a difficult conversation with a colleague because their behaviors are not in line with what the organization believes to be its values. And instead of having the conversation, you choose to sit idly by. In that moment where you choose not to engage, that selfish moment where you choose not to engage, you might be a winner in the micro. But the reason that the only winner when we choose not to engage, and sometimes we even rationalize that we're trying to do the other person a favor. The reason that there's only one winner, if there's a winner at all, and that's you, is because every time we don't engage in a difficult conversation or we don't put forward the ideas that need to be said and start the meaningful dialogue, we rob people of their opportunity to grow. And if we believe that we're a growing organization and that's the culture we want to have, anytime we lose that opportunity, what we are doing is either intentionally or unintentionally tearing down the culture we are trying to build. So if you're wondering, like, man, and if you're human, this happens, that there are times where you choose comfort over courage. If you're saying this is it, but it's hard. How do I move forward? Here's two quick tips. Treat people like they're your child or someone you love or your best teacher, student, principal. So let me talk about my child. What I want for my biological children is I want the absolute best for them. I want people to love them and to honor them and to value them, but I also want people that are going to push them to be the best version of themselves. So if I'm ever wondering, hey, it's a Friday, I don't know if I want to engage in this conversation this time, I put my hat on as a dad and say, would I want someone to call Jameson or Jackson or Anthony or Caroline into the office and try to help them get better today? And that answer is almost universally yes. And so that helps me have the motivation to move forward and to choose courage over comfort. And the last thing is I think of the face of the very best people in my organization. What would they want? What do they deserve? And when I think of them, it's amazing how I always find the inspiration to again choose courage over comfort. And so, as the last reminder, you are always, as a member of an organization and as a leader, which I believe you all are, you're either building culture up or you're tearing it down. And you can't choose courage over comfort and not be building and shaping the culture that you want to. So, when you do choose courage over comfort, there's absolutely no doubt that you will have a culture grounded in the ideals that I believe are the ideals and values that support any high performance organization, and that is continuous growth, integrity, and the pursuit of excellence. Thank you for listening. Hope you learned something. Hope it helps you think.